right. Ladies and gentlemen, every single one out there on YouTube, the arena has officially returned today with a somewhat special video because you guys know Final Combat has finally concluded. One of the most entertaining, one of the hypest tournaments we had so far for the game. And we have a new world champion. Sonic Fox, congratulations after an epic battle in Grand Finals versus Nicolas. Yeah, we have a champion and we have a person who just won $70,000 playing Mortal Kombat 1. That brings us here to this video. Fabs, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me once again for a State of the Game special. I think that's the right way to approach this video here, Fabs, right?
We've been doing a couple of these lately. Last one was at the Cyrax right before Final Combat. And now this is the post-Final Combat situation. What the game feels like, what's going on with the meta, what's going on with the scene, what is happening right now.
Yes. So guys, everyone watching this, first of all, thank you so much for clicking on this video. For everyone who's maybe new here to the channel, usually we here in the arena, we host Mortal Kombat 1 tournaments every single day. We are the biggest competitive community tournament out there, paid out more than $100,000 in prize pool to the players. But today, we're here for a somewhat different reason, because we want to have a discussion with you guys out there at home. Everyone who enjoys Mortal Kombat, everyone who watches Mortal Kombat on the regular, because there were like a few topics regarding Final Combat we want to cover here in this video. Because I personally enjoyed the tournament a lot, but at the same time, a lot of people out there, especially the casual audience, they hated the tournament for several reasons. And that's what we're going to talk about here in this video, because there are two sides and we're just going to try to have a discussion with the community here. Fabs, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Meta of MK1. Peacemaker, Johnny, Chameleon, the three most prominent characters in Final Combat. And what can I say? The people hated it.
Yeah, man, and the people hated it. I mean, usually tournaments with low variety already hated it. Even if it was low-tier characters, let's say, and there was just the same three low-tier characters, people would hate it. But now the fact that it was three very meta characters, and I mean, they're playing for 70K for first place, so I understand why. But why can't the meta be something that doesn't feel as, I don't want to use that word, but the C word, carried? I feel like these, like Chameleon and Peacemaker, are characters that just by default, they neutralize a lot of characters' tools just by existing.
Yes.
And a lot of people were like, oh, all this guy was doing is torpedo and fen lift. All this guy doing was glaive in neutral. All this guy was doing is anti-gravity. How many games did we see end with an anti-gravity 5% chip? How many rounds did we see? Multiple. So
we've seen a lot, yes.
Many. And the state of this meta is so bad right now that we saw either mirrors or Peacemaker versus Johnny, or Peacemaker, or the person that wasn't playing these characters lost.
That is true, yes.
Wow.
And that is the perfect way to start the discussion here, because for everyone who is searching for, like, you know what, let's talk bad about Mortal Kombat, that's not the video for you. Fabs and I, we love the game. We breathe Mortal Kombat, and that is our day-to-day business. I mean, we live Mortal Kombat through and through. But I think in our position here as content creators for the game, we are definitely here to talk about like potential stuff which is bad, stuff which can get better in the long run when we maybe talk about it, because let's be honest, NRS is watching our videos as well. So, but before we talk too much about nonsense, we have two sides here in this discussion. On the one side, we have the competitive player base. That means pro players, Tekken Master, Sonic Fox, Ninja Killer, all these guys. And on the other side, we have the casual viewer base. And I think to find the middle ground, which makes it right for both sides at the same time, it is very, very difficult. Because I personally, but that's once again from my point of view as a very, very, you know, competitive person in MK in general, I enjoyed the tournament a lot because I enjoy these little micro decisions within a game. I love the mind games. But at the same time, I can completely understand that people who are not that into competitive MK1 and they just want to watch fancy gameplay, interesting gameplay, that they're somewhat disappointed by the non-existing variety here in this tournament. And before we now talk about that in detail, I just want to show you guys a little discussion on Twitter, because now you're going to realize where the problem is. Pro players, let's for example take Honeybee's tweet here. saying, now that Final Combat is over, I'm really interested to see what the next balance patch for this game will bring. It's obvious that some cameos need some real buffs to compete with the chameleon meter. Some characters also need some real buffs too. We have Tekken Master saying, you know what, Cyrax is healthy for the game. We have Tekken Master right after, who is in the discussion with Tweety, where they said, you know what, nerfing cameos, top tier cameos like Striker, is not the right way to deal with it. We have Rewind, who is saying this is a cameo-based fighter, but there's not much incentive to play anything other than whatever's the top one cameo. Chameleon just unlocks all characters' potential more than any other cameo it feels, but maybe I'm just tripping. And of course, Foxy, basically saying something similar, but to break it all down, the essence of it is pro players want strong cameos. Yeah. And they want everyone to get buffed to that level. And when we take a look at the casual side of the game, like most likely you guys watching this on YouTube as well, you guys want the exact opposite. APK with a statement here saying, to be for real, I'm not really a fan of pure buff on the other cameos, because at the end of they'll probably not be used competitively. What NRS needs to focus on is nerf the hell out of all the ambush cameos, Goro, Kano, Chameleon, Fanlift, Striker, Cyrax, Mavado, and the rest. And that's exactly where the problem is, Fabs. We have two different sides, and we have to discuss what is a top-tier character, what is a top-tier cameo in fighting games in general. Most of the time, auto-hit confirms, keep you safe whenever you want it. That means you can make unsafe stuff safe, and it allows you to keep your turn forever. So you can keep pressure up non-stop. Jackie did it in MK11, Cetrion did it in MK11, and we've seen that basically in every single game. But that's exactly what the people don't want to see, Fabs. And that's where the problem is.
Yeah. With all these takes, I would say I agree with Rewind's take the most. It is true because like Chameleon plays pretty much like a main character, right? And I wouldn't say she unlocks the character's potential. She pretty much does so much that what your character has is just gonna be there, you know. But Chameleon is pretty much a second character. Like I saw a round where a player did a Jade Glow, and after the Jade Glow, he was still able to do 2 more glaives. That is 3 cameo usages in one cycle of Chameleon. And all of these usages that he's doing with Jade can potentially launch you like from full screen. And if you block, they get another loop of pressure. This is why Johnny Chameleon is so strong. You keep your turn for so long and so long and so long. And there's like the responsibility on how to play the matchup is on the person defending. Like you can't make too many mistakes with Chameleon, but you can make mistakes defending Chameleon, which is why you get to see people that if you don't know how to punish a fan lift, you will die. If you don't know how to deal with glaive and neutral, you will also die. Like there is no risk in pressing these Chameleon buttons. But the other hand, other cameos, for example, there's risk in doing Sub-Zero Cold Shoulder. There's risk in doing Sector Summons. There's risk in doing, I would say, most cameos in this game take some risk and some more potential. And like you have to play the game a little bit more before you do your cameo. But these other cameos, like Cyrax, for example, just approach, block string, Cyrax. If the Cyrax connects, hit confirm. Cyrax blocks, cool, my turn still. Block string, I get to play more. Like, there's no incentive to play the other cameos in this game.
Yes.
And
yes.
Foxy did mention, is Chameleon carrying? Is she doing too much? I do think she is. She really is right now. I think on loser finals, Nicholas versus Ninja Killer. Nicholas literally did not use the Chameleon ball roll the entire time. How did he get the last hit?
Last moment.
Boom. That 18 frame overhead, very Sub-Zero MK11 like. I mean, it's strong. It's there. It's just you have so many options to worry about when you're going up against Chameleon. And it's just a Chameleon. I remember during the Striker days as well, the Raiden off-screen Kano days as well. But now it's just like if you're not using Chameleon, you are kind of losing the matchup in a lot of scenarios. And that does not feel like a good, healthy meta, I would say.
Exactly. But, of course, the pro players themselves, they're not here to entertain. They are competing for money. They want the best possible chances to win the 200K. The only thing which is in common is that we all want to grow Mortal Kombat as a community. We want to convince people to play fighting games with us. We want to grow the scene in total. But this is only gonna work when the people outside of the competitive scene are enjoying the game, or at
Yes.
least not even enjoying the game itself, but are enjoying watching the game. When we take a look at other big major titles, Counter-Strike, Dota, what do they all have in common? Like, why are these titles so big? Why do they have millions of dollars in prize pools? Because the casual viewer base is carrying the game. We don't have to talk about the data when we take a look at numbers in MK11, numbers in MK1, even during Final Combat, and then take a look what happens when there's a Dota or a Counter-Strike major event. It doesn't even compare. So my question
Yeah.
is, how can we make the game more exciting for viewers? And my personal take is we need to get rid of auto neutral. We need to get rid of constant combo loops or the same stuff over and over
Pressure.
again.
Yeah.
And Raiden is the prime example here. In my opinion, still, Raiden nearly killed the game in the early days of Mortal Kombat because it was Storm Cell into Kano and there was no variety. And we saw the comments in our own YouTube videos. We saw the comments under every other MK tournament as well. People said, this game is super, super boring to watch. So, Fabs, how can we fix it? In my personal opinion, we need to get rid of all these make unsafe stuff safe. We need to bring back decision making. We need to bring back neutral because that's exactly what people out there want to see and what people find exciting. We saw what happened when all of a sudden Ninja Killer hovered over Liu Kang coming from
Everyone was
Peacemaker.
going.
Everyone was
Everyone.
shouting at the top of their lungs. Everyone was having a good time. We saw what happened when video games, all of a sudden picked Shang Tsung,
Shang, right? It was
right,
so
versus one
fun.
of the twins. Everyone lost it. And that's how hype this game can be.
Yeah.
But here comes the problem. How do we fix it?
Yeah, I think from a game design perspective, it is your like main job to focus on how to make high level and make the things that are viable also fun to watch, but at the same time, fun to play against and not to like if I
Yes.
don't play this, I'm losing. You know what I mean? Because I think MK1 is in that state. I think this was the first time where we see Sonic go completely to top one character, top two character just to win the game. He said he picked up Johnny a week and a half ago because he had no answers against Peacemaker and Johnny Chameleon as well with Sindel. He had to drop his main to just mirror everyone. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But like, this is what the game is about. You know, either you are playing the meta or you are not in the money. You know, in the top three. And a good example of that was Faisal. Faisal plays every single character in this cast. Like we guys keep up with you, you know. I plays Johnny. He can play Peacemaker, and he was like the only person in the top four that was playing something outside of Johnny and Peacemaker. And he also had the Katana, and everyone was so excited. But at the same time, how was Katana competing? Because she had Chameleon. So it's the state. If you want to play a character that's not in the meta, if your character does not function well with Chameleon, then you are not gonna be, you know, in that upper echelon, I would say. And like the it's really hard to watch gameplay of just the same loops. Something on block, it's a fan lift. I hit them, I get punished. Nobody likes watching that. Everyone was
No one.
so mad and seeing
Yes.
the same. I honestly agree. I think
Yes.
that of every single NRS game, this meta right now is the least enjoyable to watch. Even though this is one of the best games they released, this game is so fun to play. But this meta is not fun to watch. I will
Yes.
say that.
And at
And
the
even
same time, like from a balancing perspective, it is not even that bad. The game, even though people on YouTube
yeah,
might roast me for it, you can win with Shang. We saw it, video game. It was a game 5. We saw Faisal nearly win with Kitana. My big problem is just that the game is not fun to watch, at least on that level currently, even though I personally enjoy it. But, I'm a little bit deeper into the game from a technical standpoint. Like, I love these little micro decisions. But if you just tune in as a casual fighting game fan and you see Peacemaker, 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 you see Eagly into Eagly into
ugh,
Eagly all over again, you just lose interest. And that's now, where we want your opinion, because, and once again, this is just only my personal approach, I don't agree with the statement from the competitive scene where they say, you know what, just buff every
buff everything.
character
Oh,
to the level of Johnny, Peacemaker, and Chameleon, because once again, these guys are so strong. because I don't want to say they play the game for you, but they either allow you to keep a turn forever, auto hit confirm so you don't have to skillfully hit confirm into a string anymore, or they're able to constantly reset neutral over and over again. And that's exactly what I, as a casual myself, don't want to see. And that's, I think, we should nerf all strong ambush cameos down, and I agree with the approach, make the cooldown longer for Striker, for example, and then buff the summon cameos up to that middle ground. But I think giving every character these top tier tools or making every cameo top tier level, this is gonna kill the game, in my personal opinion, Fabs.
Yeah, I think cameos should not be carrying the characters, should be assisting the characters per se. I think the most hype moments from these tournaments happen when usually the cameos are on cooldown and they have not that I like listen, I'm the only person that I will never support the 1v1 game mode only. You know, I like having cameos.
Yes.
But the most hype moments were coming whenever both cameos were on cooldown and they were trying to get a whiff punish. When Sonic like backdashed and whiff punish, then just poke into fatal blow. That was so hype, so hype. And I love that. You know, the game actually has some fundamentals whenever you don't have these tools that auto neutral the whole
Yes.
space for you.
My
And
point.
it's really fun. And I wish to see the game more like that. But it is hard. It is really hard to make that happen. It is tough.
Yes. So
I would say.
at the end of the day, we're all waiting for the balance patch, but we want your opinion out there. Please let us know in the comments. What do you think about the meta of the game? Or do you even say, you know what, I like the game how it is right now. I can somewhat understand it as well. If you're like strictly into the competitive approach of MK1 and you're like, you know what, maybe I'm even a Johnny Chameleon player myself and I just like having all access to all these tools. Perfectly fine as well. But I think that we need a threshold and we say, you know what, we need to bring top tiers down. We need to boost the lower used cameos, lower used characters a little bit. So the meta is going to be more fun and we bring back neutral. We bring back decision making. At the same time, we bring back a little bit of risk as well, because that's what makes it so fun, in my opinion. But Fabs, I'm super, super curious what the people in the comments are going to say.
Me too.
Guys, let us know in the comments. And of course, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you enjoyed this little different video, but I had a lot of fun. I know that Fabs had a lot of fun as well.
Always.
So guys, have a wonderful day. But for now, we are out. But I promise we're going to be back very, very soon. Bye-bye, guys.
Peace out.